Rabbits are very adaptable animals, and they actually prefer the colder winter months over the heat of the summer. And we really talked a lot about raising rabbits in the winter in my last video, so I'll definitely link that down below. But let's chat more about what it actually means to be breeding your rabbits during the winter and if it's even possible. And the short answer is yes, it's definitely possible. Now, out in the wild, you'll see that wild rabbits are most likely going to be breeding in the fall and spring when the time of daylight is actually much longer. So that actually signifies to the rabbit that it is time to breed. But when you are domesticating your rabbits, you can play a larger role in when exactly you want to be breeding your rabbits. And a lot of it comes down to the light that's going to trigger what time of day it is. So you can definitely do your own artificial lighting. Now, in the winter months, it's definitely going to be a lot darker, a lot colder. So making sure that you're giving your rabbits a good shelter with a nice roof and coverage from the wind is definitely going to be key during this time. But if you definitely do want to be breeding your rabbits over the winter months, especially depending on where you are, that might be a lot longer than the time that you could actually be breeding your rabbits, then you can definitely do it during this time. And because rabbits are naturally ovulating, so they can actually signify to their brain when to do it, there isn't a certain time of month where it needs to be done. All you really want to do is make sure that you're adding in some additional lighting, some artificial lighting. So we have our rabbits in a barn, and when we know we want to start breeding them for that week, we'll start to put the lights on in the barn for around 14 to 16 hours to really signify what it would be like in the summer, in the warmer months. And this is going to really help with your breeding. Before you start breeding, you want to think about your mama rabbits. You want to make sure that you're giving them enough fresh, non-frozen water, whether it be before you breed them or once they're actually bred and you're waiting for their kits. You want to make sure that they have enough water. So throughout the day, usually 2 to 3 times a day, we'll bring out fresh water and clear out any of the old frozen water so that they do have something that they can drink on. There's a lot of things going on and they're definitely going to need it. They also won't eat unless they have enough water. So you really want to make sure that you're giving them enough water. And then you also are going to want to make sure to give them free hay. So constantly be giving them hay and a good source of feed so that they can start to use their energy for not only to keep warm, but to create those beautiful little baby rabbits. And once they are born, you definitely want to keep this going after they've given birth, because they're mamas, they're giving a lot of milk to these babies, and they're going to need a lot more energy than if they were just living out there in the winter months. Now, once your rabbit's ready to kit or ready for their litter, you're going to want to put out a nesting box a few days before, usually 2 to 3 days before their litter is going to be due and they're going to be delivering those babies. You want to make sure to stuff it with a bunch of straw and bedding so it's nice and warm and ready for those little baby rabbits. They're not going to have any fur in the beginning, so you're going to really need to help create a warm space for them. Hopefully you're going to have a good mama rabbit who's pulling a lot of her fur and giving them a nice fur bedding for them. But if you have a mom that isn't great at pulling, we usually like to give our moms 3 strikes and you're kind of done with breeding at that time. But we will give them that time to really pull. If you do need some additional fur, they're not pulling enough, you can take some fur from the shedding season when they did do that earlier in the year. Or if you didn't save any of that fur, you can also take some cotton from the inside of any of pillows or blankets and put that inside of your nesting box to provide a little more warmth there. Once your babies are born, not much is going to change. You're going to want to continue to keep them in a nice shelter that's going to keep them dry and away from the wind. You're going to really want to make sure that they're protected from this wind at this time, because all those baby kits, as I said earlier, aren't going to have too much fur on them yet. And even as they're young, they really aren't going to have as much fur as well as much fat as their mom and dad probably do, and some of the older rabbits do. So you're really going to want to make sure that you're giving them a nice good diet, you're giving them enough water, enough hay, and you're also helping with that exterior environment. So any type of barn, shed, a rabbit box that you have set up, anything like that, it can keep them really nice and warm during this time is going to be key. But you can definitely breed rabbits over the winter. They can withstand pretty cold temperatures, and a lot of times you're gonna find that rabbits will actually grow better during the winter. They might grow a little bit slower, but they're going to be a much hardier rabbit than sometimes in the summer. I've definitely heard that from a lot of other people. So definitely keep it up. Don't stop breeding them, even though it is cold, but just take on some additional precautions. And if you want to learn more about raising rabbits in the winter, you're going to want to check out this video, and we'll see you guys again next time. Bye.